So for this pronunciation tutor, we're going to have a look at the silent S, or the use of S, compared with the Z or Z sound. That's really common in French. Very useful thing to know. So if we look at the top sentence here, un japonais, so we wouldn't pronounce that S, that would be dropped. And actually, it's not always that we do the liaison. So, I think most people get used to it along the way. I don't think I can tell you some hard and fast rules about when to use it and when to not, but you notice un japonais est. There's no liaison with the word est. We don't ever pronounce that T, and you wouldn't run it through either on that as well. So, un japonais est une suédoise. That's a Z-y, Z-y kind of sound, yes? Suédoise. So make that Z-y, that sound, even though it looks, so you might say suédoise, Z, Z, suédoise. So you feel that vibration there. Let's look at some examples. So this is the S when it's not pronounced. So japonais, we just had. Je lis, which is I read. Two examples. And then we've got this Z-y sound of zéro, zéro, suédoise. That S is pronounced like a Z, Z. Now notice il, we've got a consonant there, so we're not going to pronounce that S. Il, but because we've got the one S on its own, and then we won't bother with the NT, goodness me, quite complicated, isn't it? So je lis for I read, and they read is ils lisent. Ils lisent. Important to know that, because a lot of time when you're talking in third person plural, that's how it sounds. So let's look at some more examples. So if you want to say this, I'll do the first one for you, and then if you can say these to yourself. So des japonais, no pronunciation of the S. Des japonaises, nice and Z-y. Do you want to run through all of those yourself? Okay, so des Suédois, des Suédoises, des Danois, des Danoises, des Français, des Françaises, des Polonais, des Polonaises, des Libanais, des Libanaises. So Z-y all the way through. Right, some more examples. So we've just had this one. Let's just have a look at that again. So un Français, no S pronounced for the masculine. Une Française, with the Z sound for the feminine. So that's a French person, a French male, a French woman. Singulier, je lis, don't pronounce the S, I read. Plural, elles lisent. Yeah, so that S is a lise. We don't bother, do we, saying the NT in the third person plural, and the E makes us pronounce that S. So je lis, elles lisent. So let's have a look at these examples. So il est bien sérieux, masculine, he's very serious. Elle aussi, elle est bien sérieuse. Sérieuse, make it steady. Okay, let's try this one. Il est bien joyeux. So what would it be on the other side? Voilà, elle aussi, elle est bien joyeuse. Joyeuse. Il est bien silencieux. Elle aussi, elle est bien silencieuse. Il est bien paresseux. Oui, elle aussi, elle est bien paresseuse. Paresseuse. Okay. Sérieux, serious, joyeux, joyful, happy. Silencieux, silent, paresseux, lazy. Let's have a go at saying these then. So, Françoise est amoureuse de François. That T from the is, from the être, does run through as a liaison. So, Françoise est amoureuse de François. Okay, then what's the next line? You have a go? Mais François est amoureux de Denise. And the next one? Denise, so still Zadie. Denise est amoureuse de Denis. Et Denis est amoureux de Françoise. Quelle histoire. And actually, that's a thing that it's quite useful to note, actually, because it's very often in French that there's a masculine name and a feminine name, which are, you know, so like we have François, Françoise. And of course, if you were to call someone by the other one, then, you know, it would be a bit confusing. So we know straight away that François is masculine, Françoise is feminine. Okay. But this just takes it a little bit further, this Z and S sound. So if this 10 was by itself, but it's not in this sentence, but if it was, you'd pronounce it as 10. But it's not, it's part of 17 here. So we're not going to pronounce that X, we're going to say 17. 17. So you drop the X when you have something following it. So 17. Now, sometimes people find that they find it difficult to differentiate between the sound of 2 and 12. But in 2, in de, there's no Z sound. But in 12, there is. So 12, 12. To really get that Z in there, 12, 0. 12, 0. But here we've got an S sound. So elles sont, so not much softer. Elles sont 12. Elles sont 12. How would this one go? We've got a Z in between. How would you say that? Elle a 6 ans. Elle a 6 ans. I'm quite often asked, what's the difference then between the sound of ils sont and ils ont? The ils sont has got an SE flow to it, it's nice and soft. And ils ont has got a Z-iness to it. Because you're actually pronouncing the S as the first word and you're actually running this through as a liaison. So have a go at saying this then. So ils sont au restaurant. I'm going to liaise that T with the A. Ils sont au restaurant. Ils ont faim. Ils ont faim. Make it really zaddy. Next one. Ils sont au café. I pronounce the T because of the A there. So, ils sont au café. And then this one. Ils ont soif. Ils ont. Really zaddy. You got it? Yeah. Ils ont soif. They're in a cafe. They're thirsty. Ils sont chez le médecin. Ils sont chez le médecin. Ils ont mal. Okay, do you want to do the next two by yourself? Very good. I can see, by the way, your lips are moving, you're getting it. So, ils sont près de la fenêtre. Ils ont chaud. Ils sont près du radiateur. Ils ont froid. Ils ont froid. Très bien. Excuse me, I just sneezed. But hopefully you didn't hear it because I was on mute. Okay, let's try this. Louise et Lisa. Lisa. Voici, voici Louise. Voici sa sœur Lisa. Voici Louise, the Z. Voici sa sœur Lisa. So can you say that Louise is 10? Louise a 10 ans. Louise a 10 ans. Takes some concentration, doesn't it, to get the Z in there, particularly if it's a familiar name to you, because you're so used to saying it with an S. And this one, numéro 3. 10 points if you got the pronunciation of the S in here, because when you have de with plus, you always pronounce the S. So, Lisa a 6 ans de plus que Louise. Lisa a 6 ans de plus, that's an S sound, que Louise. Okay. Quel âge a Lisa? Lisa a 16 ans. 16 ans. Does that going through? All right, let's finish up with this here. So, combien sont-ils? How many are there of them? Ils sont 15. Ils sont bien 15. So here we've got a difference here between an assertion and a question. So, ils sont 15 is an affirmation. Ils sont bien 15. There's actually 15 of them. Okay, get your S sound in there. Okay, can you make that a statement and that one a question? Oh, just done that one. So, ils sont 15. Ils sont bien 15. The next one. Ils sont 12. Ils sont bien 12. Because obviously, I don't know why I'm so surprised. But anyway, you do have the rising intonation now. I think that's what I'm trying to get across. Ils sont 14. Ils sont 14. Ils sont bien 14. Ils sont 16. Ils sont bien 16. Just have a look. How would you say these words just down at the bottom, just to finish up? This all in italics here. Mesdames, mesdemoiselles, messieurs ont pleuré pour de beaux messieurs. Très bien, très bien. So, good one for you to practice this week. Getting lots of Zs in there, I think, is the thing. Try and be really conscious of it when you're speaking. Bon, bah, merci beaucoup. Superbe de vous voir. Et puis, bah, à bientôt alors. Merci, merci. Au revoir.